Please turn your attention to the video screen.
Tony Storm has been wrestling since 2010, and after training in Wellman, Iowa at the Central Empire Wrestling Academy, he moved to Tampa to train with Frank Reyes and Steve Kern. Wrestling as a single, he was the NWA Deep South Heavyweight Champion and the DCCW United States Champion. And with partner Mason Price, he has also found tag team success. Of course, Tony hopes that one day soon he'll sign with WWE or maybe New Japan. And this young talent is well on his way to achieving that goal. Congratulations to men's honoree, Tony Storm.
To present this award, please welcome Tony's good friend and former WCW superstar, Bob Cook.
Thank you very much. In case you're wondering why I'm wearing these boots, not to steal Rick House Brown's thunder, but Terry Funk is the reason I started watching wrestling, the reason I love wrestling, the reason I wanted to be in wrestling, and the reason I'm wearing these boots tonight is because in 1986 he gave me a pair of these, and he's not here tonight, and we all wish he was.
Yes.
So I'm representing the Funker. You know, I started wrestling in 1981 because of the great Malenko. He was like a father figure to me. And I look out here today and thank God I got my glasses on because for once I can see the people I worked with. And I got the honor to work with Steve Kern several times, one of the greatest of all time. Every time you work with a guy like Steve, you learn something. The main thing I learned was don't pull his hair, but that's a whole other story. But I'm here to represent Tony Storm. I met Tony about 5 years ago at an independent show, as we like to call them, a flea market show. Half the guys were wearing outfits they got at the Goodwill, but the other half were a little bit more high class. They got their gear at Walmart, I think. But one guy stood out, and it's not because of his goofy haircut. Admit it, Tony, you had a goofy haircut back then. And I believe a legend told you to grow your hair out. And if he tells you to do something, you do it, right? We know what we're talking about. But he stood out. He had the outfit. He had the boots. Wrestling boots. You know, when I first started, the great Malenko said, you got to get yourself a pair of wrestling boots. And I said, what? Wrestling boots? Are you crazy? I was so excited to get my first pair of wrestling boots because I was training to be a pro wrestler. Shocking? Not at all. And I couldn't wait to get them, and I still have them today. Every once in a while I wore them, no, I'm going to go there. But Tony had what it took, what I thought. He stood above the rest. He didn't bring his gear in a garbage bag, and he didn't look like a garbage wrestler. If you're going to be in professional wrestling, one of the main things to do is look the part. Am I wrong? And since that day, Tony has grown. If you look at the picture of Tony from 5 years ago when I first met him, and you look at him today, it's like night and day. He didn't spend his time laying around smoking cigarettes saying he couldn't afford boots, like a lot of guys do. He spent his time in the gym. I saw Tony become a man in the last 5 years. And I'm proud to call him a friend. I'm honored that he asked me to do this. And Tony, your parents are here tonight. Not only should they be proud of you, but they should be proud of themselves for raising you. Because we know how hard it is to raise a man or a child this day and age. And they raised you right.
Woo!
He's got the discipline. And he's got what it takes to be a success in professional wrestling. Whatever that is, I don't really know because let's look around. When you look in the history of wrestling, some guys made it and you went, what the hell are they doing? What did they do? Right? And I did wrong. I don't know. But Tony's got what it takes because he's got discipline, he's got heart, he loves the business, he'll take advice, he won't just ask advice, he'll actually listen to it and do what you tell him to do. Or take the advice at least. Most guys just pretend to make you feel better. And I'd also like to say something else because I'm sitting here and I want to say it. My friend Dave Sierra, the Cuban assassin, went in the dressing room last night And some of these overbearing, obnoxious, pig-faced bastards who call themselves professional wrestlers didn't know who he was, didn't go up and shake his hand. And if you're in this business and you don't know who the legends are, like Steve Kern and the Cuban Assassin, you don't belong in the business. Because if you're in the business, you should want to know. And if you don't know, get out of the business. That's my opinion. Because they are absolute legends. I'm not trying to put Steve Kern over because I am, because he deserves it, but he's a legend.
Preach.
He earned his spot. If you want to earn your spot, at least shake the man's hand because it starts from the beginning, and that's where it starts, right? The great Malenko told me to sit down and shut up. So that's what I'm going to do. And right now, May 1st, 2018, my friend Tony Storm, the Men's Award, Cauliflower Alley. I love you, Tony.
I have this whole speech written up, literally pages. And after everything Bob said, there's no way I can go off of what's written down. After listening to Brickhouse, Killer Cross, after listening to everybody, I learned in the last 45 minutes that the circle of friends is not a tagline, it's not a gimmick. This is real life. I've been here for 2 days, and it's been the most absolutely amazing 2 days of my life. I've had people walk up and congratulate me that I grew up watching, that I've idolized. There are guys that are working currently that I watch and I study, and I'm like, man, that guy just came up and said congratulations to me. Who am I? I'm humbled to be here in front of you. I'd like to thank the Cauliflower Alley Club. I'd like to thank Bob Cook. I'd like to thank anybody and everybody who's been a part of my journey. I started in 2010, as the video stated, in a small town called Wellman, Iowa. I always wanted to know what it was like to be a professional wrestler as a kid. I think we all did. We all had that dream of what would it be like, but you never thought that it was really going to happen. And my whole life has been being in the right place at the right time in front of the right people. I was in the right time, right place, right time, right people when I got into wrestling. Training went well. I loved it. My goal when I started was to just be good enough to get booked on the show that was owned by the promotion that ran these shows. If I could just get on those shows, I made it. I did that. I thought I made it. 2 years down the road, I moved down to Florida, and I thought I left professional wrestling behind me. I took my bachelor's degree, my master's degree in business, and I moved to Florida and I started managing a gym down in Tampa. And that's where my whole life took a 180. And a wonderful gentleman by the name of Steve Kern walked into the gym, and I knew who he was the minute I saw him, but I never said a word about wrestling. Somebody dimed me out and told Steve that, hey, that kid used to wrestle in Iowa, you should talk to him. And we built a friendship that I never would have imagined possible. And through Steve introducing me to multiple people and pointing me in the right direction, I picked back up where I left off in Iowa, and I started working small shows. And Frank introduced me to a gentleman by the name of Frank Reyes, who would introduce me to multiple people by the name of Bob Cook, Ricky Santana, the Cuban Assassin, Fidel Sierra, the Tokyo Monster, Cahagas, Frankie the Thumper Lancaster, B. Brian Blair, Prince Iakea, just to name a few of the guys. These aren't guys that I met and shook hands with. These are the guys who I've worked with, who I trained with. As Bob stated, as I've sat down and I've asked for advice, hours and hours of critiques and advice, and all of these men, these legends, they saw something in me enough to give me their time. So of course I sat there and I listened. I'll never be able to thank them for everything that they gave me and for pointing me in the proper directions to work with and for the companies that I've worked with, the NWA promotions in Florida and in the Southeast, working for Alpha the Wild Samoan at WXW in Mineola. All of these experiences are what brought me here and made me the man that I am today. 2016 was probably the next huge turn in my life and in my career, because as I said, at that point in my career when I started, my goal was just to be good enough to get on the show. And then with the knowledge of these other gentlemen and the shows that I was able to get on, my goal was just to not disappoint them and to make them proud. I feel like if I did that, I made it. And that fueled me to go a little bit further. And in May of 2016, I had the opportunity to work with a gentleman by the name of Jack Stane, who was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion at the time. And in 4 hours of sitting with Jax and working with Jax and having one of the best matches of my entire life, it really clicked that night that this was no longer a focus and a drive and something that I wanted to do. This was an obsession. This was a passion. This, like Bob said, I took everything that I had in my life and I turned it to wrestling, just as all of you have done before. And I would be absolutely lying if I said it all came easy. There have been trials, tribulations, there's been a lot of doubters, a lot of disbelief. But every good story has those trials and tribulations. And that's what builds character. And I'm still what is to be considered young in the business. I've only been in almost 8 years. When it's all said and done, if I can accomplish anything further than what I've accomplished, I want the next generation after me to look at me the same way that I still look at Steve and Bob and Fidel. And I want people to say, Tony was a hard worker. Tony gave everything he had, and Tony did everything he could to give back to professional wrestling. The good thing for me is I still have a lot of time to do that. I plan on coming out to the CAC every year if I can, because as I stated earlier, you know, it's amazing. When I started talking, I was all choked up, and now the nerves are gone, because you guys have made it very easy to feel comfortable. And I thank you all. Thank you again, Bob, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you to the executive board at the Cauliflower Alley Club and everybody who played a role in my career thus far. My friends, my family, anybody that I've ever shared the ring with, all of you wonderful gentlemen that I was in the ring with the other night. That was an absolute honor. Thank you all. Have a great night.
We're with 2018 Men's Wrestler Awards winner here tonight, Tony Storm. How do you feel about winning the award this year?
Honestly, I'm very humbled. I'm very appreciative of the honor and just the fact that so many wonderful people thought so highly of me to offer me this honor. It's very humbling and very touching for me.
And what can we expect from you in the future? Do you have any big bookings coming up?
I have quite a few big bookings coming up down in Florida. I'll be a part of Ronin 19. I'm a part of a brand new up-and-coming very large promotion, Blueprint Pro Wrestling. You can expect a lot of big things to come from Tony Storm in 2018.
And where can people follow you on social media that are watching this?
My Twitter and my Instagram handle are @_TonyStorm. I also have a website, TonyStormOfficial.com, that has a full calendar of events and bookings, and you can follow any of my activities on there.
All right, thanks a lot. Best of luck to you in the future. Is there anything final you want to say to the fans out there watching?
I just want to say thank you guys for all the support. Without you, I wouldn't be here. So thank you. Keep following the journey, and I would love to meet and talk to every single one of you. Thank you very much.